A lot of my artwork is actually based on information and teachings that have come through meditation with a group of women. Very much inspired with the stories that we're told, the teachings, what we feel, healing, very much goddess, Magdalene energy, and often go home after meditation and just draw and do my artwork.
To is Denise. She's got a lovely sign that says welcome to the world of pelicans, and I'll let her tell you all about her pelican photography.
I love pelicans and I live on the river and there are lots of pelicans. They're a very beautiful bird.
Now Mary has quilts, and who knew Mary made quilts until very recently? This is the benefit of what we're doing today, is we're finding out lots of things about people that we didn't know before. So this is Mary. I'll let you have a word with Mary.
Well, these quilts were made some time ago, maybe 20 years ago, when I first started working in an industry that was really high stress. So quilting was a de-stressor, and I enjoyed it. I haven't made many lately because I've started into LED lighting, but I'll do the odd quilt every now and then.
We have Bridget, who has the most amazing assortment of all sorts of incredibly detailed and time-consuming objects.
Mostly all the things that I've got are three-dimensional, so that when you look at one side, you don't have any idea of what's on the other. And it's fairly obvious to most people that Gustav Klimt is my major inspiration. And I'm a novice really, I just give things a go, and I like to find old things that have had a life and give them a new one.
The inimitable Anne Spud-Villas has been selling lots of her picture books today.
Oh, thank you, Anne. I'm here selling my books, and I've got a bit of illustration on the wall, but it's been a really, really busy day, and I actually had to go home about an hour ago and get more books because I've sold so many. So we've had a stack of people through the doors. Yeah, so I'm here in Wentworth, and I've also got a printing press. I do printmaking, so I have classes up at my place on the river, which is beautiful. I'm in a great spot.
This is Claire Bates, who's very busy working away on what looks to me like fishing net. Is that what you've got in mind?
It is. Fishing nets, cloaks, whatever. So we don't always know what's in the end what we're going to turn it into. So it could be some wearable art or whatever.
Well, that's part of the creative process. If we start with something and we never quite know what's going to end up, that's the best work of all.
It really is, and all that, so I don't always design in the beginning of what I'm going to do. I just do it and see what it turns out and look like in the end.
I'm standing here next to Steve Hedrick, who's been drawing all day.
This is just part of my demonstration of what I teach. So I encourage people to come over and have a look and talk to me, and young kids come over and enjoy the medium of charcoal, which is my favourite.
Yes, and you have classes down at Artback
I do.
Cafe, don't you, in the main street?
I do. I have kids classes once a month. Then I have live classes Wednesday night for a couple of hours from 6 till 8. And then I have all-day classes dealing with drawing and painting.
Okay, and now I'm talking to Jan Coombs of Wentworth, and Jan is a painter, and I'm just going to ask Jan a little bit about her work. Jan, can you tell us what medium you're working in?
I'm working in acrylics and different gels and mediums that go with them, and inks. Some of them have got ink in them.
Yeah? And is there any particular subject matter that you prefer?
No.
No?
I just enjoy doing whatever comes into my brain to do.
How long have you been painting?
Since I was a child, but not in acrylics. I did oils and watercolours, and then I stopped painting for many, many years, and only started again nearly 3 years ago.
What do you think about today?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I can't believe the amount of people that have come through.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
I'm here with Dorothy Dear. I've met Dorothy before, and her work has been felting, dry felting.
Yeah, dry felting.
But today she's got photographs in this exhibition, so I'm just going to ask her to say a few words about the kind of photography that she's working with.
Well, I'm into alternative photography, meaning old processes and being creative in the darkroom with chemicals and real light. And
no photoshopping for you?
No, I don't even own a digital camera, and I don't have a computer.
And I noticed that you're working all in black and white here today. Do you mostly work in black and white?
Black and white is my passion.
Yeah, beautiful.
I mean, I love colour in other situations, but for art photography or creative photography, for me, I like black and white.
Terry Jack and Sue James. And Terry's work is all around us here. It's 3D work. It seems to have a whole lot of amazing, varied mediums. Terry, do you want to tell us a little bit about your work?
Yes, I'm very interested in doing recycling, and so a lot of my work, for instance, that particular piece there is made out of vertical blind materials.
I know.
And that there is from packing peanuts, the balls, the hanging balls from packing peanuts.
We realised that last night.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So that's what I like to do. And now that I'm living here, having moved from Melbourne, I'm getting more into the feathers and the more natural things. But
when did you move here, Terry?
Well, I'm not quite living here yet, but about to move into a house in 2 months. But 3 years ago, we purchased a property in Pomona.
Yes.
And yes, so
recent
I've been in the
like me, about 3
fairly
years.
new.
Great. There's a lot of new arrivals here in this show.
I've noticed.
It's terrific, isn't it?
It is. It's fantastic.
I'm here with Annie Lamb. Annie is a local identity, and she's got some beautiful sculpture here today. So Annie, can you just tell us a little bit about your sculpture and what the medium, what the sort of stone is?
The medium's limestone from Mount Gambier, and it comes in coins that are 2 feet high and a foot square, and the figures have to be made to fit within the size of the stone.
And what is it about the character of that stone that particularly appeals to you?
It's soft enough to work with,
Yes.
and
It's very beautiful.
can work it with a rasp,
Yes.
and it's very tactile.
I love this piece you've got with the glass wings and the contrast of those two textures together.
Well, the wings were made by Jan Hetherington, who works in slump glass,
Yes.
and she actually got me working in limestone.
Lovely. Well,
So-
I mean, you're the only sculptor here today, so it's just one more medium that we've got at this exhibition, isn't it?
Thank you.
I'm here with Jade Millard, who is very much a well-known Wentworth artist. She's surrounded by her paintings here. So Jade, would you like to tell us a little bit about the work you've got here today?
The work I've got here is very heavily influenced by the rivers and Wentworth area. I feel like a spiritual connection to the earth. Traditionally I do landscapes, and I never thought I could do portraits, but just in the last year or so I've tried to do some, and they've turned out quite well. And what I've got here is mainly paintings, but I also do resin art. I do abstracts as well.
I'm here with Les and Carol Mcqueeney, and Les's work's pretty well known here because he has a lot of beautiful woodwork, bowls and fabulous knives, and you can see the bowls down at Artback Cafe. Carol's got some paintings here.
Yes.
So Les, can you just tell me a little bit about why you love to work in wood?
I've loved working with wood since I was that high, and I've been a builder, and I suppose it's just come naturally for me, you know. I just love all the different timber, and it's all at our back door.
So you're using all local timber?
All local, yes. Box burl, and that's red gum burl.
This is beautiful. There's beautiful texture here. Can you explain a little bit about what part of the tree you used to get that lovely texture?
On the great big bulge that sticks out of the tree, and that is all full of sap. All those holes are full of sap, and as that dries, they shrink, and then you've got to pick it all out with a.
Oh, you have to remove it all. Labour intensive.
People wonder why they cost so much.
I'm here with Judy Bond. Judy has the most sensational crocheted garments over there. Judy, I know that you've won some pretty amazing awards. Would you like to just give us a little lowdown on what you have actually won? I know you've won some national awards, haven't you?
Yes, I have, with the Australian Wool Fashion Awards. They're held every year, and this year I got 2 firsts and a second.
This year?
Yes.
And what sort of garments were they that you had in that competition?
Well, they're all made of wool, of course, because of Australian merino wool. And I had a bridal gown which won first prize. I had I won a first prize in the knitwear section and a second prize in the evening wear.
And I'm looking at them. They're right over there, and they are. The ones I'm looking at are crocheted. Are they all crocheted?
They're all crocheted.
And how do you begin to design a garment like that? They're quite complicated to look at.
Well, it's all in the head. You'd get an idea in your head, and you have your mannequin, and you just work from there. You just work along, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes
I think you really know what you're doing because they all fit beautifully.
Well, yeah, it's just you start with a hook and a ball of yarn, and just see where you go.
And Hedrick's is here with me. Anne has Artback Cafe, so everybody in town knows Anne. And she does all sorts of amazing things. She's got a whole lot of artwork, creative work, isn't it, today? So, would you like to just tell us a little bit about what you have here today?
Yeah. I think the nicest part for me about my process today is that I've been able to revisit some old friends as in my garments that were in Gown of the Year years ago. So I've managed to get them out and have a new association with them, which has been fun. I've also been talking to people about felting and doing little demonstrations. So it's been a way of talking about and showing as well. So it's a bit of show and tell, isn't it? I think today has been a real eye-opener for the general public. I think all of the participants knew that there was going to be an amazing amount of work to look at, and we were all going to learn lots about what people make and craft and what people do in their spare time. So I think for the general public it's just been an amazingly unusual experience and one they want to repeat from what I've heard. Here with Sue Cooper. She's a newbie to exhibiting, so I'm just going to ask her how she's feeling about being part of this.
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful because it's my first time and I was really nervous, and all the other artists and the makers have made me feel really embraced and welcome, so it's been really good.
That's great, Sue. Really interesting to hear that. And there's lots more to come. I can see that you're going to keep working. This will make you keep going to classes and doing your own work.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm really admiring the sculptures, so interested in that too.
Right, so you're going to change from 2D to 3D temporarily.
Maybe.
That's great, thank you.
So I just sold my first work. It's so exciting, I can't believe it. I sold a piece, the pigeons.
So I want to know, Sue, you have done so many creative things in your working life.
Yeah, but they must be practical.
What are you focused on right now?
Finishing the camping box, actually, yes. After I've spent 2 weeks doing this chaos and the house has turned into an absolute brothel, I've got to sort of start doing some practical stuff.
So this is the creative lot of women, is we have to clean up after we've been creative because nobody else cares.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, Derek doesn't even notice. Like, he just picks his way through the debris. And sort of, as long as he gets fed, he's happy. So there you go.
Now we've got Sue, who is a metal worker. Is that a good description?
That'll be fine, thanks, Anne. Yes, well, I do metal artwork out of 1.6 mild steel. Starts off on the computer. I take my design then out to the shed, onto the CNC cutter. Plasma does all the hard work of cutting the steel out. Then it's a process of cleaning up the steel, grinding, welding, and then sandblasting the front so I get the different effects of the steel, rusting, oiling, whatever the customer wants.
That's a lot of hard physical work. You look very fit for it, I must say.
I've got muscles, yes, where I didn't used to have muscles, but I do now.
That's very good, thank you. That's great. We've got Ashley Moore, who is exhibiting, I think, for the first time in an official showcase of this sort.
That's right. I'm putting my toe in the water, and it's been most enjoyable today.
And you've had a sale, which is wonderful.
I've had 2 sales today. Yes.
2 sales? That's wonderful. Oh, Ashley's got some very beautiful descriptive photographs, and she's loving her photography because normally we see Ashley doing beaded work and a bit of stitching as well, some making of tablecloths and fabric things. So that's fantastic that you're trying something new.
Yes, I'm really enjoying it. My photographs are depicting mostly plants, coastal and outback, and I've called it Doing It Tough, which they do. They're surviving under most amazing conditions, salt-laden winds, 50-degree temperatures and drought. So that's what really was the basis of my idea for the photographs, yeah.
This is Dee Craig, who's a wonderful silversmith and painter and a creative person extraordinaire. Not a long-term resident yet. How long have you been here?
June last year. It's a great town.
Tell us something about the inspiration for your work since you've come to Wentworth and since becoming part of the Makers.
Well, basically it's Wentworth itself. It's the animals, it's the trees, it's the birds, and the people. And it's just so interesting here, and everything inspires me. Everything. I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's lovely to hear an inspiration story for our little town and our area, but we do live in a beautiful environmental region that's quite unique.
I've lost my voice.
Marg's lost her voice. I wonder why. This is a consequence of the Makers Showcase. Marg's lost her voice. It's a miracle.
You were all hoping for that, weren't you?
We were.
I had a bit up my sleeve.
Tell us about your work, Marg. I mean, you're the old stalwart of this area. You began it a long, long time ago. So tell us a bit about what the Makers has been to you.
Oh, this is an absolute showcase, an absolute window of what happens behind closed doors. It's so exciting. It's an epidemic of art, I think, Anne. It's like a parasite or a mould or something to come to alert. What do you call it? It's crept all over the town hall and cluttered it up and making a noise and a racket, and it's all exciting, creative people, and all the vibes that are going up through the ceiling. You can see all the, creative smoke coming up.
The goodwill is rampant.
It's a terrible disease, but we're glad it struck here today. There's some very good standouts here. I'm just excited about them. So it's, wonderful, Anne.
I'm no voice at the moment.
We have another no voice maker. We've talked and talked and talked today. It's been amazing.
It has been an amazing day. I can't get over the feel of all of the audience coming through and the vibe and the buzz. It's just sensational.
And another really new resident. You've been in town for what?
8 months. Yes, 8 months in town and thoroughly loving Wentworth.
So we've managed to snaffle some pretty exciting arts and crafts people to our little region in the last 2-3 years, and Glennis being one of them. Tell us a little bit about your background with weaving, Glennis.
Okay, so I came into weaving by accident, I guess. I found in a garage sale a weaving loom and bought the loom and thought, gee, I better learn how to use this because it wasn't so straightforward. Went to the Hand Weavers and Spinners Guild in Melbourne, learnt to weave over a period of 2 years. We were living in Mildura at that stage, so I was travelling with my husband to Melbourne every fortnight for a weekend of weaving, and we clocked up 16,000 kilometres in 2 years. So I guess you could say I really liked it even from those early days.
Welcome, Kate, to our Makers Showcase. It's lovely to have you here. We don't know you very well yet, but we will get to know you. What we want to know is just a little bit about you and your art practice and why you're here with us, and just something.
Well, I'm actually trying to teach. I've got a couple of classes going at the moment. I've only been in Dayton for 2 years, and I've just slowly but surely sort of got it out there, and I've got about 40 ladies that come along to 2 separate classes during the week, yes. So just trying to get the mosaic word out there. Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the nice things about the Makers is that we're all finding out who teaches and what sort of workshops we can plan to do and where we can have them and how we can keep the group together with teaching as well as putting on displays of our own work. Hi, Richard. You've been mobbed down this end of the hall today. It's been absolutely amazing to see people enjoying your work. Can you tell us just a little about you and what you do? Because there's a lot of people that are going to be very interested after today.
I basically come up with an idea and just then source the parts I need to make it. I generally do a lot of drawing until I come up with an idea, and I like to use recycled material the best that I can without wasting anything. And if it doesn't fit into one item, I'll use it for another piece later down the track. But and I like working with all different array of wood, steel, even come down to using the local rock and stuff as well. So, but I'll work with anything. Someone gives me an idea, I'll just go with it. So.
Yeah, that's really good. And there's so much variety in what Richard does. It's just unbelievable. His woodwork is extraordinary, and he's famous.